I have 39 years of progressive leadership and law enforcement experience. I've been in the Newport Sheriff's Office for 15 years I served. I left there, my last assignment was as Chief Deputy, second in command, as a colonel. That was my last assignment there at the Sheriff's Office, which I was next to the Sheriff. So I am familiar and I am capable and perfectly able to run that office. Prior to that, I was in charge of the Professional Standards Bureau. And in that section, I had 4 major areas that I was responsible for. Chanel Zanders was one of the people that headed up one of the most important parts of the organization that I was in charge of, and that was the recruiting and retention. She was the one that was bringing in people to the Sheriff's Office to make sure that we had qualified and the best and brightest people to have in the Sheriff's Office. Now, once she brought them in, she did her job. To keep them in is where I come into place, and where whoever the head person in the Sheriff's Office, whoever the sheriff is the one responsible for making sure they stay there. And you do that by treating people in the manner that you're supposed to treat them in a professional manner, make sure that they can advance when they're qualified to advance, and being fair with them in everything that you do across the board as a sheriff. If you don't do that, then people will leave your organization. And I'm living witness. You can look around this room here, and everyone on my staff right now that you see sitting here left on their own accord. They left because they wasn't satisfied with the way things were being done. And like I tell them, and I tell everybody else, I want people to stay. I want it to be a career. It's not a job. When you come to the Sheriff's Office, you come in there to work not as a job, but as a career. You can say that, look down the road and say 25 years or whatever amount of years, I'm going to be here, and this is what I'm going to do. Now, I won't be there with you 25 more years, but I'll make sure that when I'm there, that hopefully my replacement, the person that's second to me, my job is to prime them and to prep them to be able to take over when I walk out the door. That's my goal. I'm not a career politician. I'm not a person that want to go in the Sheriff's Office and stay there for 3 or 4 terms. I'm not going to stand here and tell y'all how long I'm going to stay there, but I can guarantee you that I will take care of the job, I'll take care of the business there, I'll bring that office up to a professional office, and I'll make sure that the people in there respect their jobs, they respect the leaders that they have over them, and they want to be there as employees of the Sheriff's Office. Currently, that's not the case. Okay, so the recruiting and retention, that was one of the part of the jobs that I had that I think need a lot of attention. And as a Professional Standards Bureau Chief, that was the thing that I did. Now, the other thing was accreditation. Now, accreditation is a choice for a sheriff, a law enforcement agency. It's not a requirement, but it's something that people take pride in. If you're a leader of our organization, you want someone outside of your organization to come in and tell you that you're doing everything that you say that you got in policy and procedure. So if you got policies and procedures in your organization and you're not following those, when they come in, then you're just whistling at the wind. So if you make policies and procedures and people come in and check and you're following all those procedures that you have, then you want people to come in and then you'll get accredited as an agency accreditation. We did that when I was the Professional Standards Bureau Chief. I was a supervisor over these areas that I'm telling you about. And the person that I had running that section, I didn't do it, he did it. But I let him do his job. And in 11 months, this person, the first time the people in that agency told us that was the earliest that anyone had ever gotten accredited during the course of the years that they were doing accreditations. So I take pride in the fact that even though I didn't do it, I was in charge of that section when it happened. Now, since then, that person was mistreated and treated unprofessional. He left, and he brought someone else in, and they failed. Because I wasn't the Professional Standards Bureau Chief at that time when they failed. Somebody else was. I had moved up to being the Chief Deputy at that time. So they failed accreditation, and when they failed accreditation, they had to wait some period of time, and then they got it. That was in 2011. Then they got it back this year. But the thing is, they could have kept it going had they treated the person that got it in 11 months correctly and did the things that they needed to do to him. It would have continued to go on without even having a break in it. The other area was training. I was responsible for training. People that came into the organization. We had I didn't do it, just like I didn't do what Chanel did. I didn't do what the guy did in accreditation, and I didn't do what the person did in training. I was the backboard for them to feed off of, and I was their support channel for them to get be successful in what they did. So everything that I do, and people that work for me, I give credit where credit is due. And that's one thing that a lot of leaders don't do. A lot of leaders want to take credit for things that people do that they are not responsible for. We had internal affairs, another section in charge of investigations and everything that was going on in jail, from people bringing drugs into the jail to all types of criminal activities that was going on in the jail with inmates and as well as deputies. And we had to set up investigative avenues to curb all of that. So we fixed those things during the course of my time. I'm most qualified than any of these people running for sheriff, to include the one that's the sheriff. Now, the only thing he has on me is that he's been sheriff for 8 years. But as far as leadership and as far as law enforcement and as far as that jail, I've worked inside the jails, I've worked in the courts, I've done transportation, and I've done civil process. Those are the 4 major responsibilities that the sheriff has. Now, I'm going to make sure that we do those things, because that's our most important, and that's our bread and butter as far as the sheriff's department. I was just talking to a police officer out there just a minute ago, and he was talking about telling me what I already know, the fact that your responsibilities are the jail and the courts and the civil process. I know that. But apparently the guy that's been there 8 years done forgot about that, and he's not focusing enough attention on doing the things that they said it need. And I can show you some examples where we had, where they had, not we, they had, for instance, in the jail, there were 3 hangings, deaths, in a month's time, 2 in 1 week. Now, that's unprecedented. I worked there for 15 years, and that never happened. Now, we've had people commit suicide in the jail, but there's no way in the world, with the proper leadership and the proper supervision inside the jail, that kind of thing could happen. And so people need to know and understand that it starts at the top, and it starts where a person needs to make sure that the leader of that organization has to make sure that those people in place are taking care of the businesses that they need to be taken care of. And there's no excuse for 3 people killing themselves. Well, and they talk about there's no way you could have prevented that. That's what they tell you, and that's what he tells the media, and he have his spokesperson to tell folks that there's no way you can prevent that type of thing from happening. But yes, it is. Again, I work the jail. Every one of us work the jail floors. All the people that I'm pointing out to you, except for my wife, all of us work in that jail, and we know and understand that the proper supervision and the proper leadership will prevent those things from happening. And so those are some things that the citizens of this city need to know, that we don't need these politicians that's been around in these offices for years, and just because a person sit on the place for 8 years, or just because a person is walking around as the highest position in that office, doesn't mean that they're doing what needs to be done. Now, they can come out here to the public and express things and tell you a million things, but the people that you need to understand, need to listen to, are people like us that has been there and know what needs to be done to correct it. I want to say this other thing too is, I'm retired from the United States Army for 24 years. I'm retired from the Sheriff's Office. I'm 62 years old. I'm not old, but I'm 62. But I know that there's a lot of things could be done to correct things, and you do not have to hang around for all these years to get things corrected. I guarantee the people, and I assure you, that when I go into office, I'm going to make a difference in this community. I'll promise you that you will see. You will not. You will see me in the community. You will hear from me. I'm going to have town hall meetings where I'm going to be there talking with people, just like in this library here, or different other places around the city. I'm going to be there talking with folks. I'm going to be dealing with situations of creating youth activities for young people. And I'm going to be involved with those things. I'm not going to be sending folks out to do it. I'm going to be in the middle of these things to make sure that things happen, that I can see these things through. And I can make an impact on this city. I can make an impact on all this crime and stuff that our young people are doing. We got police out here patrolling and doing whatever they need to do, but what these people need, what young people need, is somebody to go in there and they see that you are genuinely concerned about them and that you really want to make a difference in their lives and that you're putting something out there that they can put their hands on and understand that this can change my life. I can have a theme that I always say is from games to games. You know, I want to get out of the games and get into games. We have sporting activities, youth sport activities that I'm going to make sure that we get organizations, get businesses to sponsor some things to where we can get. You see, there's a lot of young people that doesn't have opportunities that some others do. They have hard-working parents. Some of them have parents that's not there, and they're out there just doing whatever they want to do. That's where troubles come about. You got to have an avenue, and I've heard people talking from the congressman to the sheriff to the city council people and everybody around the city. I've been listening to them talk. I've been living in the city of Newport News for 25 years. I was born and raised in the state of Florida, but I came here through the military. But I've been here for 25 years, and I know that I've listened to people talk a lot of noise just to get elected. Now, everybody want to win. When you run for office, you want to win, but you don't want to win at any cost. What I want to win is, I want people to understand and know that this guy is going to make a difference. Not just want to make a difference, but he's going to make a difference. And he's going to make sure that folks that work in the sheriff's office are on the same pages that he's on. I believe that people that work for me, and like I told myself, if you work for me, then your family works for me. I'm concerned about your family as well as I am concerned about you. So I don't just have, and I learned that from my military days. If your husband worked in the sheriff's office, your wife or your children might not work there, but I'm concerned about what their life is about, what's going on with them, how we can make things better for that family, how we can keep these families together. Those are the things that people need. People forget about that. Once you get to a certain position, I've heard that being said. Well, once you get there, you're going to be, I can tell folks, just like I said early on, I'm retired 2 places. I'm Social Security age if I want to draw it. I don't have to work for nobody. I want to work for the people. I want to come in here and I want to make a difference, and I want to make an impact on this city of Newport News that has never been made before. And I believe that given the chance and given the opportunity to be the sheriff of Newport News, I will make that difference that people have never seen on every end. I'm not going to talk about some people want to concentrate where the central part, we want to be in there and do this, the north end, we're going to do this and do that. We ain't worry about the southeast end, we'll just let that, that's a no-win cause. Why do you think we're down here now having a town hall, having a meet and greet? I'm down here not only today, but when I'm elected, I always use the term when, because every time I say if, my wife say, I don't want to hear that if stuff. You better say when. And also my staff say the same thing. Every one of these people in here, they didn't already start calling me sheriff. And I'm not going to correct them because I believe, just like they do, that it's going to happen. Now, you might look around and understand that I don't have any politicians in my pocket. I don't have anybody supporting me from a political perspective. But I'm not discouraged because all I know is one thing, is that every person that walk in that vote, in that office, that place and vote, is going to vote for who they want to vote for. And I'm counting on, just like Sonia just raised her hand up there, she know that I always say that, she always said, and all the rest of them always say, there's somebody up there I believe in. And I believe that he's looking over me, and he's going to make that difference. It's just like I tell the folks, we don't have the funds, we don't have the people, but we have the courage, and we have the commitment to want to do what's right for this city. And one thing people need to think about is when you got someone that don't have an agenda, that's who you need to concentrate your support for. I have an agenda, but it's not it's not self projected. I don't care about what's going to happen for me. I care about what's going to happen for the people that in this city that's hurting and that need someone to be there for them. I believe if we're going to make history, this group of people that you see around here working with me, we're going to make history in the city of Newport News. And matter of fact, we're going to make history around most of the country. Because in no case that I know of, anybody had won an office and not had any political backing. I don't know of any case like that, but I believe that we're going to do it. And I believe because genuine in my heart, I believe that the Lord is looking at me. And I believe that the folks believe in me are going to be there. We're going to get across that bridge. Now, people are telling me, I've talked to some folks that say, well, look, I see signs of this person, that person, all up and down here and all up and down there, and we don't see none of your signs. I told my people that by September, we'll have signs out. We'll start putting out signs out in September. Even if I had them today, I'm a man of my word. If I had 1,000 signs sitting up in my garage or wherever right now, I would not put them out until September. Because like I tell people, I do things at the pace that I don't want to try to do what somebody else is doing. I got to do what I know and what I feel is right. And I want people that supported me to understand that there's a method to my madness. And the method is, you don't try to follow anybody. You set a trend. And the trend that we're setting is something that I don't believe anybody else has done. And the only way I'm going to continue, and like I tell my folks, if I got $500, we're going to go with that. You see, people say, well, Dad, you can't do nothing with $500. We probably can. But what we're going to do is if we only can afford to buy 200 signs to put out, we're going to buy 200 signs and put them out. If that's all we can afford to buy. But I believe that we're going to have more than that. I believe that we're going to have what we need to represent, and to get us where we need to go, because the Lord knows my heart. The people that have dealt with me and people that work with me and people that listen to me know my heart. And they know that it's not about me. They know it's not a power struggle for me. People that know me, that when I was in a position of authority, above all, most folks in the organization I worked in, I was the same person. I treated people the way I want to be treated. And that's the only way I know. Civil process is another thing that we've got to concern about ourselves with, that we got to make sure that we focus on. Because y'all might remember there was a family, an old family, killed in 2011. And matter of fact, a couple of days ago was the anniversary, the 19th of August of 2011. This whole family was killed, and one of the things happened is that the deputies down at Newport News Sheriff's Office set on protective orders that should have been served to this man that could have saved these people's lives. Now, what the current person sitting in office, the incumbent, will tell you is that anything slight of locking this man up could have saved these people's lives. Now, if you have some human dignity and you have some respect for human life and for people, you would not make a statement like that, because number one, whether that's true or not, we know that a piece of paper doesn't match a gun or a knife. We know that. But the point is, what is your job? Your job is to serve these things. And once you serve them, you have accomplished and you have done what you're supposed to do. And one thing I'll say, again, I'm going to those four basic, not basic, but the four critical areas of responsibility of the Sheriff's Office. That jail, the civil process where these families lost their lives, in that jail where these people hang themselves, because people come in jail a lot of times, they have mental problems, they have alcohol, drug problems, and if people are not watching them once they come in, and you have training with you, people, we get training on that to work in the jails and stuff like that. But if you don't follow through, then these things happen. And so, under my watch, I can just tell you that the people will be so professional and so well trained in their jobs and so in their careers rather, that these things will not happen. Now I can't tell you that nobody will commit suicide, but what I can tell you is that under most circumstances, it's avoidable. Under most circumstances, a person being served a protective order on time, most people with common sense, or most people with I would say, does not have any kind of mental problem, they're going to do, if you give them some the papers, they're going to try to do the right thing. Now there's some occasions where maybe the person's going to go overboard, but you still got to do what you're supposed to do, and then you're not being threatened with lawsuits. You're not being threatened with the fact that you didn't do your job. That's what's going on in this case with this family of these people that got killed by this man by not serving the protective order. So those things would be things that I would concentrate on. The other thing is transportation. Transporting inmates are very serious, and you have to make sure that you transport them properly, because if you don't, then they can escape. Now we've had escapes where they have had escapes from the Newport jail and the courts because people didn't do their jobs. Now they will also turn around and tell you this, that for instance the last person that escaped from court, they turn around and say, well, the person escaped, but he was not a felon. So they're gonna minimize the fact that this person escaped. Now, if a person is not a felon, if they commit misdemeanors, when you're on the run, fear will make you commit felonies. You see, so you have to treat any escape as if it's a felony. The sheriff's office is a constitutional officer, so that means that you're voted in office. You answer only to the voters every 4 years. Unless you commit a crime that caused you to get locked up, unless you do something that caused you to have to resign from your job, you are there until 4 years over. And so these guys go around, some of them, and that one in particular, and tell you everything that you want to know just to get another 4 years of service in the office there. But ask yourself and look around and say, do you want someone that's heading up an organization that's not in command and control, that's not in control of that organization? You might be in command, but you're not controlling. You do not have control of what's going on in your office. When you commit anything in the sheriff's office, when the sheriff, for instance, you lose your job, if he tell you got to go away just because I have the powers. It's, like I said, it's a constitutional officer. You work at the will and at the pleasure of the sheriff. So they can tell you any day, I don't need your services. And you can't do nothing about it. You just have to walk out the door and just tuck your tail or do whatever. You're going about your business. I know that that's power. I will not, like I was telling some folks about this, well, yeah, nobody want to give up their power. I say, first of all, if you're doing the right thing by people, you don't mind giving up some of your power. And my thing is, grievance process in the sheriff's office, currently as it stands with this guy, and most sheriff's offices around the country, is you don't have a grievance. If they mistreat you, slight of sexual harassment or anything like that, discrimination, you have no grounds. But my thing is, I'm going to make sure that people have a grievance process. I'm going to set a grievance process in my office, and people say, well, you don't want to do that because you're giving away your power. Now, the governor way back when made sure that sheriffs had the power to avoid any, having to have outside grievances and outside people to tell them how to run their office. And all of them take it literally. I know only one sheriff in the 7 city areas that have a grievance process outside of his office, and that's enforcement. That's the only one that I know of that have a grievance process. They're scared of it because what they want to do is hold that power over people where you can't have, they don't have the answer to anybody. My thing is, I don't want to have people working under those kind of conditions of pressure. If I ever have to tell somebody you no longer have a job, they'll know, and there won't be no arguments. They'll know that it was their fault. There's a reason why they need to go. And they will not fight it, I'll guarantee you. But I am going to, when I become sheriff of Newport News, make sure that there's a grievance process equivalent to the city grievance process that other people in this city have. Because I don't think anybody should work under conditions that they don't have anybody to go to outside of me. Once there's a situation that happens, they need to have somebody else to go to. And so I'm, you know, you can hold me to everything that I tell you and that I tell folks. You can hold me to it because I'm a man of my word. And trust me that whatever I say, I don't forget, and I will keep it in perspective. I am going to establish a scholarship foundation for the sheriff's office, for the city, for the schools in this city. The first year that I'm in office, I will probably do one scholarship that first year. But after that, every school in this city, I plan to have a scholarship for 5 kids for the 5 high schools in the city of Newport News for at least $1,000 for each one of those kids. And I promise that I'm going to do that because I can't see where it can't be done. And like I say, to show you how serious I am about it, if I can't get it funded, I will pay for it myself. You know, I will pay the money out of my salary to make sure. Yeah, out of my salary to make sure that 5 scholarships are done. You know, there's a fiscal responsibility that the sheriff's office has to have too. You know, we have to make sure that the monies and stuff that come to our organization are spent correctly and it's not wasted. Because there are people out here working every day that can't pay their light bill, can't pay their water bill, can't pay this and can't pay that, but you're wasting money. When I'm elected sheriff, I'm going to look at the budget in the sheriff's office. I'm going to look at, examine all the spendings in that office there, and any waste that I find during my initial time I get in the office, any waste that I found is going to be corrected. I will not waste taxpayers' money when it's not necessary. I want to bring a level of respect to the sheriff's office because I can tell you all right now, and some people here might have heard, but people know that there's a lack of respect for that sheriff's office, and it starts with the leader. And I will tell you that when you do things, when you don't have integrity, and you're not honest, and your character is questioned, you're not an effective leader. When you put politics ahead of your leadership and politics ahead of your people, then you're not an effective leader. You're going to fail. And the way you fail is people will see that you're not, they'll think and they'll know that you're not concerned about them. You're only concerned about where I got to go to get elected for this office the next time around. And everything I say has to be something that people want to hear, not what they need to hear. What I say is what people need to hear. It's not what I think that you want to hear. Because a lot of times what people want to hear is just, niceties. But things that you need to hear is things that's going to make a difference with you, your family, and this community. My whole gist of this thing, my whole perspective, my whole desire to be sheriff is to make a difference. And like my campaign manager told me when I first said that, he said, not just make a difference, but make the right difference. You know, young people, especially our people, and I'm going to say this because it's necessary to say this, our young people need to have somebody in authority, like myself and like people that I have in my organization, that they can listen to and they can know is genuine when they talk to them, and that's concerned about them trying to change their lives, change the direction that they're going in. If I'm not mistaken, I heard that 2 people got killed in the city today or yesterday. I heard on the news. So I don't know what's going on, but we know that there's a lot of gang activity. There's a lot of other things going on around here that with the right leadership and the right people. Now, these police officers coming around here dealing with these young people in these areas, they're not respecting them because they're not showing them. And I have to say that because I know it's true. They're not really showing them, and they're afraid of them. They're scared of these kids. You got to be able to go out there. And I remember as a young man, when I was coming up, we had police officers. We only had, I came up in the 50s and the 60s. And we had, I remember us having 2 deputy sheriffs and 2 police officers that were black. Only people they could patrol was black people. You know, of course, that was before civil rights passed and all that stuff. So the only people they could patrol was us. And they stayed in our neighborhoods, and they made sure that if they saw you, they looked for truants, kids skipping school and stuff, they look for you and they pick you up and they take your butt to school. Or they pick you up and take you to your parents, take you to your grandparents, whoever you were living with, because they knew the folks. And that they knew the people in the area. Now, I know the cities are bigger now, and people are scattered more so than they were when I was coming up during that time. But you still can bring a level of respect to these young people by being out there and talking without any fear about going down wherever and talking to whoever, whatever kids, and making sure that they understand that I'm concerned about them. And I'm going to use this term here. Elderly people need to be safe in their homes. They need to be safe walking the streets.
Right.
They need to know that people, these young folks need to understand that these people are gone.
Yes, Lord.
These young people need to know and understand that these people have had tough lives. They have tough lives raising their own kids, raising their grandkids, raising everybody's kids around. And they need to be safe in their communities and in their homes. And I have a passion about elderly and the youth. Because one day, Lord bless them, I'm going to be elderly. And I remember when I was a kid, right now my age, I'm elderly. Because the kids, my grandfather died when he was 64. And so I want to do a mentor program, mentorship in the communities as well. I'm going to have officers that I know can go out and deputies that can go out there and mentor these young folks and make sure that they understand that you got to respect the elderly. You got to respect people that's grown. You got to respect your community. And you respect, well, that's where it started, thank you. It starts with yourself. If you do not respect yourself, you cannot respect anybody. Now, I always tell people, if you don't mind people treating you like dirt, then you go right on ahead and treat people like dirt, because it's okay with you. But if you want to be treated decent and in order and respectful, then that's the way you should treat other folks. I just want people to know one thing. I'm not, again, like I said, I'm not a career politician. I'm a leader. I'm a career leader of people, men and women. And I am not one of these kind of people that believe that you got to say certain things to get elected. I want to say that I want people to look at me and understand and listen to me and understand that this man really have a passion for wanting to do what's right and really want to change that office. Again, like I said, I can go sit on my couch. I can go take my grandkids. I got 7 grandkids. I can go stay busy every day with my 7 grandkids and not have to work another day except for what my wife had me do around the house. But I will not have to do anything else if I don't want to. I want to do this because I know it's needed. And with your help, and with the help of the people that you know, and the help of the folks in this city, if they would just get a chance to listen to me, get a chance to decide whether talking with you after you've heard me speak. If I get a new pair of shoes and I got an old pair of shoes, if the old pair of shoes are ran over but they feel good, I want to keep them. I don't want to change and get no new shoes because the old shoes feel too good. But in reality, you're messing up your body. You're messing up your legs, you're messing up your knees, you're messing up all parts of your feet and everything else. So why stick with somebody just because they've been there? Why keep that old pair of shoes just because you had them instead of going on and get that new pair and seeing where that new pair will lead you? I promise y'all that if you take a chance on me, you will see the difference, and you will be happy that you made a decision to go away from this guy that's sitting in the sheriff's office right now and any of the other 2 that's trying to run for office. I'm the most qualified person to run for that office, and I'm the most genuine person.
Amen.
I'm the person.
All right.
I'm the most genuine person that you're going to run into. I'm not one that's going to just say anything. I will tell you what I mean, and I will mean what I tell you. And you can count on that. And when I get into office, my door will be open to the public. Anytime somebody want to come and see me, anytime somebody want to come talk to me or speak to me, guarantee you nobody will turn your way. I guarantee you nobody will turn your way, because I believe that I'm serving the people that voted me into that office and not the politicians around this city. As I said to you early on, there's not one politician I have supported me. I'm not discouraged. I'm not worried about it. When I get elected, and when they try to, say, well, all of this, then I have, again, I'm genuine. They'll know who they're dealing with when I walk in the office as sheriff of Newport News. And when they walk in my office, or either they call me, they'll know who they're dealing with, because I'm not just that everyday person. I'm a real, genuine citizen of Newport News, concerned about the citizens of Newport News, and I want to make a difference.
Amen.